When my grandfather left me the ranch, he didn't leave money, stocks, or fancy property in the city. He left me land and water. 800 acres of rolling pasture, mesquite clusters, and a natural spring that had never run dry in over 100 years. Folks around here called it Old Heart Spring. My grandfather used to say the land didn't belong to us, we belonged to it. So I protected it, every fence line, every water path, every inch, which is why the day I found the fence cut open, I knew something ugly had arrived. It started with tire tracks. Fresh, heavy, not ranch equipment, construction vehicles. I followed them on my ATV across the southern pasture until I saw the damage. A clean slice through my boundary fence, wire peeled back and posts knocked sideways. Beyond it, a trench carved through the soil like a scar. And in that trench, pipe, brand new industrial water pipe, running straight across my property. I shut off the ATV and just stared. For a moment I thought maybe the county had made some mistake. But then I saw the survey flags, bright orange markers planted every 30 feet. They weren't confused. They were intentional. Someone had decided my land was optional. The answer showed up 2 days later in the form of a black SUV and a woman wearing sunglasses bigger than her attitude. She stepped out like she owned the dirt beneath her boots. "I'm Denise Hargrove," she announced. "President of Silver Ridge Homeowners Association." Of course she was. Behind her, beyond my fence line, the hillside had been stripped bare for a new development, 70 luxury vacation cabins with artificial ponds and scenic water features. The brochures called it eco-friendly living. I called it concrete cancer. "You cut my fence," I said calmly. She waved a manicured hand. "Temporary access. We have an easement. You don't. We filed paperwork. You filed imagination." Her smile tightened. "This project has county approval. The water line runs from your spring through a distribution system. It benefits the entire community." "My spring," I repeated. "Our engineers determined it's a shared natural resource." That was the moment I understood. They weren't asking. They weren't negotiating. They had already decided the outcome. I hired a surveyor, then a property lawyer, then a private investigator. Within 2 weeks the truth was clear. The HOA had submitted forged access claims, pushed paperwork through during a staffing gap at the county office, and started construction before anyone could challenge it. Classic strategy. Move fast. Spend big. Dare the landowner to fight. Most people would fold. Lawsuits are expensive. Time is exhausting. HOAs rely on that. They just picked the wrong rancher. The pipe installation continued despite my legal notice. Workers avoided eye contact. Supervisors pretended not to hear. Trucks rolled in at dawn and out at dusk. Then came the insult that changed everything. They installed a locked control valve on my land. A metal box the size of a refrigerator with a Silver Ridge HOA logo welded onto it like a flag planted after conquest. I stood there looking at it while the pump hummed. They weren't just stealing water. They were branding the theft. That night I called my lawyer again. "Can I shut it off?" I asked. "Not yet," he said. "They'll claim interference while the dispute is pending." "So what can I do?" He paused. "Own the source." Turns out, Old Heart Spring didn't technically originate on my parcel. The geological source point, the actual underground headwater, began on a small rocky parcel half a mile upstream. A neglected 5-acre strip owned by a retired cattle broker who hadn't visited in years. He didn't even know the HOA pipeline depended on that source. I drove to see him the next morning. We talked over coffee. He wanted simplicity, not hassle. By sunset, I owned the source of every drop feeding that pipeline. Not the pipe, not the trench, the water itself. Legal notice went out the following week. Ownership of the spring headwater had transferred. Any extraction required my permission. Unauthorized diversion constituted theft of natural resource and trespass. Silver Ridge responded immediately with threats, letters, and a demand meeting. I attended. Denise Hargrove sat across from me at a polished conference table with 3 lawyers and a binder thicker than a brick. "You are interfering with a community utility," she said. "You are siphoning my water. We have invested millions. You invested without permission." She leaned forward. "If you restrict supply, you will be liable for damages." I placed a folder on the table. Inside were updated deeds, geological surveys, and water rights filings recorded that morning. I don't need to restrict supply, I said calmly. I simply won't provide it. For the first time since we met, she didn't have a rehearsed reply. The cutoff happened at dawn 3 days later. No drama, no confrontation, just a quiet turn of a valve at the headwater intake system now sitting legally on my land. The pump feeding their pipeline went silent. By noon, Silver Ridge's artificial ponds began shrinking. By evening, 70 luxury cabins had no running water. They tried everything: emergency county petitions, temporary injunctions, claims of public necessity. But water rights are old law, older than HOAs, older than subdivisions, older than their marketing brochures promising nature-inspired living. Nature had answered, and it wasn't on their side. Denise returned to the ranch personally this time. No SUV confidence. No sunglasses armor. Just anger. "You're hurting families," she snapped. "You hurt my land first. We can negotiate. We tried that when you cut my fence." Silence stretched between us. Finally she said the only sentence that mattered. "What do you want?" I handed her a document. "Remove the pipeline. Restore the land. Pay damages for trespass. Sign permanent recognition of property boundaries. Cover all legal fees. And one more condition. A public apology posted to every homeowner in Silver Ridge acknowledging unlawful construction across private land." Her jaw tightened. Pride fought practicality. But water beats pride. She signed. Pipeline removal took 2 weeks. Heavy machinery reversed the damage they created. Trenches filled. Soil restored. Fencing rebuilt stronger than before. When they removed the control valve box, I kept the WA logo plate. It hangs in my barn now, a reminder that arrogance makes expensive mistakes. Silver Ridge eventually drilled their own deep wells. Turns out building responsibly from the start costs less than stealing from neighbors. Funny how that works. The spring still runs clear. Cattle still drink. Grass still grows. And every morning when I walk the fence line, I check the wire like my grandfather taught me. Land remembers who respects it. And sometimes, it teaches lessons money can't buy.